What is going on, good people? We can finally, I think, finally, like officially say, welcome to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant classic. This is your first episode of our official hour-long podcast that I guess in in theory is kind of a weekend review. I think, Casey. What would kind of be your thoughts on this whole hour long show that we've kind of put together over the past couple of weeks?
Um, it's kind of little bits of other shows that we've kept talking about doing and then we never did. We just kind of put it in one show. So obviously we'll have this, but we'll still have the reviews. We'll still have other stuff, but this is going to be kind of a mainstay kind of a thing every Friday. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I definitely agree. A little bit of the stuff that we have coming up in tonight's show. Before I get into that, though, I want you to give us a like for the first episode, the pilot episode. Give us a like on the video if you are, either if you're on Facebook Live or you are on YouTube. I want you to give us a like because you can like us either way. And you can even give us a love on Facebook Live. So give us that love. Be sure to share the video, subscribe, do all that stuff right now while I'm telling you about what all is in the show. So, first segment is the news and rumors segment. Then we got the top 5 botches / funny moments of the week. After that, we got the top 5 instant classic moments of the week. We got Overreaction Friday, the ICWP Weekly Booking Challenge, and next week's Hype Bro. Kind of what we're excited for going into next week. We're going to try to keep this as close to an hour as we can. I didn't write down the time we started, so I know we started around about 9-ish, 9:05-ish, something like that. So we're going to try to keep it as close to an hour as we can, but, things happen. But anyway, let's jump into the first segment that we have, which is our news and rumors. We kind of scoured the globe a little bit, I guess, and looked into some wrestling news and wrestling rumors and kind of compiled together what we thought was kind of the notable news and rumors for this week. We started out with Magnum TA and his, I guess, what was it? Was it Disney? You said Disney? This is one of Casey's, by the way.
Yeah. If you don't know, Magnum TA is a former wrestler. I think he retired in the 80s. He's also the stepfather of Tessa Blanchard. So if you don't know, him, at least you know her. Reportedly, he was denied entry to Disney's Magic Kingdom because he has a Segway that is kind of modified with a chair because back in 1986, he had a bad car accident that injured him severely, so he has to use that to get around. The problem is Disney has a policy against you're not allowed to use Segways in the parks. And, I get both sides because my sister used to work for Disney World, so it's a liability thing because they used to have Segway tours in the parks, but people kept getting hurt not knowing how to use them. But at the same time, it's his mode of transportation, so it's kind of it's a hard thing to kind of deal with, who's right, who's wrong. But that was definitely a big thing. I know Tessa Blanchard did put out a tweet about it, being upset because he was trying to surprise his family with a trip to Disney World, and then he couldn't even get into the park. So it's kind of it sucks, but I can kind of, like I said, I can see both sides, but yeah, that was that story.
Yeah, as far as my thoughts on that story, it's definitely unfortunate because it's not, it's not like he's coming in on a Segway just because he can't, just because he wants to or because he's trying to be, a rebel or whatever. It's his mode of transportation. It's the only way he can get around. So, it's definitely unfortunate. I think eventually they might budge on something like that just because, I feel like anyone with a disability, you can't hold them back like that. If that make like, I don't think it's fair. Now, I mean, it's not necessarily fair that some people with disabilities can't get into certain places because of their disability. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to say what I guess what Disney would do. Um, I think it's definitely something that he should be able to talk with maybe a Disney official or something like that and kind of try to get clearance on it, even if they like have like a list of people who maybe have a certain disability or are going through some certain thing. And I feel like they should be able to mark that down and know like, hey, this is why this is happening, instead of it just being like a no, regardless of what the situation is.
Yeah.
But moving on to our next news story, which is Davey Richards' retirement. I found this out actually last week, and this kind of first episode is a little bit more kind of monthly, a little bit more weekly, like not necessarily like this week, but a little bit of last week as well. And Davey Richards announced his retirement to actually pursue a degree as a doctor. So I thought that was actually pretty cool. I was a little surprised because I never actually knew about this, but I did know that Davey Richards was planning on retiring sometime soon, but I just didn't know the reason. So I mean, I just think it's pretty cool. And as far as like being a wrestler, because I feel like sometimes wrestlers get like this bad name because they put their bodies on the line and because of what they do, that they're not like intelligent or they're too stupid to realize that they shouldn't be doing wrestling or whatever. So, he's kind of proving, and even Xavier Woods in the same aspect with his PhD in psychology, like these guys are proving that they're not just these big muscled up meatheads. There is a level of intelligence that they have. Casey, any thoughts on that? I don't even think it's a rumor at this point. I think it's confirmed. He confirmed it on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I know we had heard a while back that he was getting ready to. I don't know if we heard it, if we knew at the time it was official retirement, but I knew he was kind of gonna move away from wrestling for a while. But I mean, it kind of sucks that he's retiring, but it's cool that he's made this dream come true. Now he's going for a new dream or goal to be a doctor or whatever he's doing in the medical field, which is kind of cool. I definitely I support what he's doing. So but like I said, it just kind of sucks that he's retiring. But at least he's going out on his own terms. A lot of guys don't get to do that. Either they get injured or they just get so old that they can't do it anymore. But he's kind of at that age where I feel like if he wanted to, he could still continue in wrestling. He's decided that he's done what he wanted to do and he's ready to go try something else.
All right. Next, we have, and this is the third of 5 stories that we're going to give to you in the news and rumor section. We got Johnny Mundo signing with Global Force Wrestling. I'm definitely excited about this, but I'm not excited about the backlash that it's going to bring as far as, oh, God, another WWE reject signing the Impact and the GFW and the T. I'm not ready for that aspect because, like, I honestly hate when people say that, because in any other sport, and this is honestly something that's going to come up in another segment of the show, but in any other sport, you would not be mad at a team for signing the best player. Maybe in basketball we've seen it a little bit more, but it's more so prevalent in wrestling when anyone signs to, more specifically, Impact. And I don't know, it might just be like kind of one of those team situations where like if they sign to that certain team, then they're like the scum of the earth. So, but I'm excited for it from a talent perspective and from how it's going to improve the show and give them more depth. I'm definitely excited. There were a couple more. I'd actually gotten this report from the King of the Mountain podcast. So shout out to them, our good friends at the King of the Mountain podcast. They do a kind of a news and rumors type show every week on GFW. But I definitely think it's really cool to see that Johnny Mundo is coming to GFW. Casey, any thoughts on the Mundo?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for Johnny Mundo to come to GFW. It's gonna be another guy that Rabbit knows nothing about. He's gonna be like, so what's this guy do? What's he like? What's he like?
What's his style?
Yeah, I mean, he is arguably one of the best that in the business right now. He has a unique style with that kind of parkour, feel to him a little bit with the stuff that he does. And he's been doing a lot of good stuff in other promotions. So, I'm not mad at GFW for signing him. I would, if I had a promotion and I had the money, I would sign him too. So
So you would sign him on the who do you sign?
I would sign him on Who Do You Sign? Season 2 coming sometime.
Yeah, season 2 at some point, guys. The last story in our news and rumor section before we move on to our top 5 botches / funny moments is the WWE 2K first footage was released. I think it was officially released on August the 3rd, which is about a week ago. But it was one of the big kind of things. I mean, I think anytime WWE 2K is coming out or anywhere near, I think it definitely is one of those things that like people gravitate towards. And from what I saw, I only watched the one video that the WWE 2K YouTube channel put out. It's in the description as well. I watched that one video, and they talked about how the graphics engine has been kind of updated and changed. And to me, it seemed like it was more realistic. I love the lighting. I think the lighting actually did a lot more did a lot more to it than it even may even seem. The belt looked really good on Brock, which is probably the first and only time you're going to hear me say that. The belt looked really good on Brock, and I hope there's no like belts like molding into people this year like there has been in previous years, or molding into their jackets, or like kind of poofing out a little bit. Orton is one of the guys they showcased. He looks a lot better, and his face doesn't look as fat this year. Last year, for some reason, his face looked fat. After watching that video, so I mean, it's interesting little footage as far as like graphics are concerned. But I think a lot of people are looking towards gameplay and game modes and stuff too. So there's a lot more to look forward to. I feel like with the upcoming videos from WWE 2K. Casey, any thoughts on the WWE 2K18 news and rumors?
Yeah, the graphics looked awesome, from even down to like the detail in the barricades to the ring steps to the stage. Looked really good. I liked the Universal title. It looked good. The only thing I didn't like, and I don't know if you noticed this, but the plate looks like it's just part of the belt. Like it doesn't protrude out like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
It threw me off a little bit. That's one thing I didn't like. Also, I wish they would work on the crowd a little bit more. It feels like they never really work on the crowd. It feels like they update them a little bit, but I feel like they need to do something with them. The only thing is, I want to see the actual in-game graphics, because I feel like the commercials and the ads, the graphics always look better than the actual gameplay when you actually start playing the game. So I want to see how good those graphics are.
And I don't know if we've had a roster release yet, but I want to see that too.
Yeah.
But I'm going to kick it right back to Casey for the top 5 botches / funny moments of the week.
All right, we got the top 5 botches. We didn't necessarily put this in any order, so these aren't going to be really like 5 to 1. These are just top, or just 5 of the moments that we thought were funny, or we noticed botches here and there. The first one is going to be Joseph Park and Joseph Park and Grado segment with advice from Joseph Park's football coach. We both thought that was really funny. The next one is going to be James Ellsworth's return. I was excited for it. It was definitely funny though. Him outside of the ring was kind of funny. Then we had Lana overselling chops. That was you couldn't not laugh at that. And then another Lana was Lana pulling Charlotte's trunks down. And
Also, I don't know if you caught the fans, the fans after that, where they were like, "Thank you, Lana."
yeah, and a couple other wardrobe malfunctions in that match. And then the final botch / funny moment was Laurel Van Ness yelling at Congo Kong to stop attacking Grado. She's like, "Stop it, stop!" I just thought it was funny. And then moving on, we got the top 5 instant classic moments of the week. If you're gonna change it,
Oh,
you got
so
some.
I didn't know if we were going to discuss it or not. My bad.
I mean, did you want to discuss it?
No, no. I mean, I guess I was going to give my thoughts on why I agree that it was funny. I don't know. I'm not bringing that graphic back up, by the way. I
This,
think. I mean, you covered the funny ones. You're
this
good.
is the pilot episode, so we working out the kinks. But anyway, our first thing we're excited, or our first instant classic moment. And again, these aren't necessarily of this week for this first pilot episode. It's kind of the last couple weeks, just kind of getting everything in. First was the Super X Cup. We're definitely excited for it. It's been really good so far. DJ?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And you don't actually even have to stop after either one. You can just come to me after all of them. That might be quicker.
Okay.
But I agree. I mean, why you did kick to me. The Super X Cup has been really good. I've stated in my articles and via voice or via the podcast that it has been kind of a shot in the arm of the X Division and showing kind of what the X Division always was supposed to be. So
Yeah. Then we got Tony Nese and Jack Gallagher's character progression / evolution. We got Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns last man standing match. We have anything with Jinder Mahal. Anything. And then these last two with DJs. I don't agree with them, but whatever. Miz and Lesnar in the same ring, the IC champ and the world champ, according to DJ, even though the universal title is a completely different title from the world title. Not the same thing. It ain't. It's not. And then the Usos remixed theme.
okay. Yeah. As far as Tony Nese's and Jack Gallagher's character progression, Tony Nese, I've said it in 205 Live reviews before. Tony Nese has just done a good job with his character progression. At first, obviously he was this jacked guy with like, an 8-pack and all of this, but they didn't really showcase that. That now they're showcasing that, that's 8 reasons why I'm better than you and all of that. Like they're using it as something to continue to push him. As far as Gallagher, I almost said Gallagher. Gallagher, they are doing an amazing job with him as far as potentially showing a heel aspect to him, and that's what I like because Gallagher is a guy who is funny and a guy who is a jokester and a guy who is, as Brian Kendrick says, a clown. But now he's got that mean streak where he can become heel, and it will make sense. It will look good, and we've seen it look good in the past, like especially in the past couple of weeks. Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, last man standing. I just thought it was a good match. I like that. I think when they put these two together, like it's just how it is. I think next week, while I'm thinking about it, we're probably going to add Roman Reigns elevating Braun Strowman to the Overreaction Friday. So I think we're going to add that to next week's Overreaction Friday. But I just thought it was a good match. I love when these two are in the ring together. Anything dealing with Jinder Mahal? I mean, I just like the progression of Jinder Mahal from jobber, pretty much, to world champion and actually looking like a world champion. I mean, they've done a good job with that. Miz and Lesnar in the same ring. The reason I said I like this was because I like the fact that the IC champ and the world / universal champ were in the same ring. It kind of puts them on the same level / puts that IC championship up up in prestige again, where he's because the Miz is good enough to where he can make it feel like that title is on the same level as the Universal title. When he talks, he didn't say anything about it, and I still felt the same way. I still felt like he was conveying that to me. And then the Usos remix theme, technically, is an honorable mention. It's amazing, man. If you haven't heard it yet, I think it actually debuted last week, but it's awesome. Like it's like they added words to it. I already like the theme anyway, but now they added words to it, and it kind of doesn't come at you really abrupt. But I mean, I just liked it. I was just a fan, Casey. I was just a fan. Next we got the ICWP booking challenge, correct?
You're incorrect. We have Overreaction
Friday. Okay, I didn't see my graphic underneath here. All right, it's my turn. We got Overreaction Friday. If you guys have ever seen Overreaction Monday on NFL Live, this is kind of where I got this idea from, because wrestling fans do overreact about a lot of things, and that can cause debate. So Overreaction Friday. We started off with the Rock's Brahma Bull cover-up tattoo. I don't know if you guys have seen this. I am going to try to find a picture if I can. But I feel like I'm going to try to find a picture at some point if I can to kind of show you guys if you haven't seen it already. But it is on his Instagram at DRock. It is on his Instagram. I really don't like it. I can still see where it is a bull, but I think it's so far off from what he had that it kind of it just kind of makes me feel like he's kind of trying to forget about what made him successful in the doggone first place. And I just don't like that personally. I mean, I know it's still a bull, but I don't like it. It's just me. Casey, did you have any? Is that an overreaction or not an overreaction? The Brahma Bull cover up kind of sucks.
I mean, I feel like some people are going to overreact. I'm kind of on the fence. He said it's, as he put it, the evolution of the bull. I personally don't like it, and I don't like that he completely covered up the Brahma Bull. But at the same time, it's his body. He's not really contracted with WWE anymore, so he can do what he wants. But at the same time, also, I feel like this could hurt his sort of brand with the Brahma Bull basically being his iconic logo. That's on everything The Rock. That's on his T-shirts, on everything that has to do with The Rock. You think of the Brahma Bull. Now it's completely covered up. Like, I would be okay if he did something around it and you could still see the Brahma Bull, but he just completely covered it, and I don't know. I just don't think it was a good idea. It's like Goldberg covering up his band on his arm that everyone thinks of Goldberg. I personally don't think it was a good idea, but I mean, The Rock can do what he wants, so.
I mean, he can. The next, I guess, overreaction or not an overreaction, Brock Lesnar would sweep the floor with Jon Jones. Jon Jones called out Brock Lesnar after regaining I think it's the middleweight championship, or it might be light heavyweight. I can't remember right offhand. But after he beats, I think it's Cormier. I can't pronounce his last name. But after he beat Cormier, he called out Brock Lesnar. So my either overreaction or not overreaction is Brock Lesnar would sweep the floor of Jon Jones. I'm gonna go with overreaction because Jon Jones is probably the best in the world right now, and he's not being dumb and when he's staying out of trouble. He should be I mean, he's really good, but he can't get out of his own way sometimes, and that has negatively affected him. He's only lost one fight, period. So I don't know. As far as the weight is concerned, it'd probably be a little bit more difficult for him. But I don't know. I think Jon Jones is one of the best in the world, so I'm not going to say that Brock Lesnar would sweep the floor with him. Casey, overreaction or not an overreaction?
I'm about to set up a new overreaction because people gonna overreact to what I'm about to say.
Oh.
I'm kind of neutral just because I'm not that big of an MMA fan, like as you guys are. Like
I'm not a huge MMA fan. I just know who Jon Jones is, and I just happen to see the fight and the call out. See the end of the fight and the call out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think so. I mean, for me, I mean, granted, I haven't really seen many of their fights, either one. I've seen a couple, but not enough to say, okay, yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. The next one we have is Global Force Wrestling has taken a huge step back since Jeff Jarrett took over. Because a lot of people, and I think Rabbit would be included in this, would say that. I think that's where I actually got that one from. Casey, overreaction or not an overreaction?
Huge overreaction. Literally, anytime anything changes with GFW, TNA, whatever you want to call it, everyone overreacts. Like, they could change the color of the ropes and people would overreact. Like, it's just, I think it's the curse of that company to just have fans overreact on everything.
I'm gonna throw that rock cover up real quick for everybody. I'm just gonna let it cover up the whole thing just so you can kind of see it for a minute. So if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to give us your thoughts on that. By the way, you can pause it if you need to. I'm not gonna keep it up for too long.
And if you're not on the YouTube, you can watch the video on the page.
You're not on the YouTube. Good luck.
If you're on the Facebook Live, sorry you didn't see that, but it will be on the page later on, so you can check that out.
All right. As far as this one is concerned, I would say it's not an overreaction. Simply because last year I said that TNA had the most consistent shows during the year period. They were my top show. And I think ever since, I wouldn't even say necessarily ever since GFW took over, I would even say more so since Anthem took over, it has taken a step back. I don't know if I'd say a huge step back, but there has been a step back. It hasn't been as consistent. The writing hasn't been as good. So I would say that's not an overreaction.
And I would say it's an overreaction with Jeff Jarrett specifically.
Okay.
Like Anthem, yes.
But, well, I mean, we want to point the finger at somebody, so I had to put somebody in there.
But I think Anthem coming in, they're not a wrestling company. They don't know wrestling. They just bought the company. You know what I mean? I think it will slowly get better with Jeff and whoever he brings in. Because at the end of the day, I think Jeff is a good promoter. He is a good, he has a good mind for the business. Some people don't like him, and that's fine. Some people don't like Bruce. Some people don't like Dutch Mantel. That doesn't mean they're not good at, what they do.
Some people don't like Vince Russo. It doesn't mean he's not good at what he does.
Yeah, some people don't like Jim Cornette. Doesn't mean he's okay. He's not good at what he does. I tried. I really did. I tried.
Moving on to our next one. Oh man. This is actually the last one, and this one is one that people hit all the time. You are not a true wrestling fan unless you watch/like every promotion. Overreaction or not an overreaction, Casey?
Hold up. Replying to a message on the Facebook Live.
Thank you, by the way. Whoever's messaging us, I appreciate
it. Surgeon Jones.
Okay.
What was it again?
I said that you are not a true wrestling fan unless you watch/like every promotion. Overreaction or not overreaction?
That is a huge overreaction. People who say that are ridiculous. To watch every promotion, you would literally probably have to quit your job and do nothing but watch wrestling
True.
with all the promotions that there are. And that's not just the main, TNA, WWE, New Japan, uh,
Well,
CMLL.
I guess, and two, I guess I could change it a little bit and say, you're not a true wrestling fan unless you watch the indies. Let me make that a little bit more clear because I think every promotion sounds a little bit too far fetched. I mean more so the indies.
I mean, no, I mean it's an overreaction, but I mean, I personally like the indies. That doesn't mean that somebody who just watches WWE and TNA, I don't think that they're a real wrestling fan. They may have watched WWE since they were like 5 years old. That doesn't like, and we made this comparison talking about this same subject a while back. That's like saying you're not a real football fan unless you watch every team
Mhm.
and every game. Like,
Or unless you watch like the CFL or
yeah,
the Arena Football League, which I can't watch for anything, and I love football. I can't watch Arena Football to save my life. It's terrible. It's horrible. Um, my stance on this is I think it's an overreaction. I personally feel like to each his own. You know, you're gonna like what you like. It's just how it is. Like, like you. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like you just like what you like. I mean, if you don't like the Indies, my dad is a big wrestling fan, but he can't stand the Indies because he feels like there's no star power in the Indies. But I wouldn't necessarily say he's not a true wrestling fan. That's just his preference. He doesn't like the cruiserweights because they're small. It doesn't mean he stops watching WWE. With this, I feel like that's just asinine, is what I would say. I mean, you can't possibly watch every single independent promotion. You're not going to like every single independent promotion. Um, so I would say this is an overreaction. I think it's dumb to even say it because it's just kind of it's a weird aspect. Like, I just think it's kind of dumb to say it. I mean, you like what you like. When you like you said, when you watch football or you watch basketball, I love basketball, but I'm not forever watching doggone Italian basketball or whatever, right? I'm not watching the European League, just not. Anyway, um, moving on to the weekly booking challenge.
all right. We got the weekly booking challenge this week. We are putting together a 4 to 5 person uh, stable faction, whatever you want to call it, using WWE's current roster, and that could be main roster. That could include guys from NXT, as long as they are currently signed with the WWE. Um, Mine, I did a little bit of a story with mine. Booking storylines here. So I got Corey Graves, who is not going to be an in-ring competitor in my faction. He's going to be more of a kind of sort of a manager slash mouthpiece. And I'm going to have him slowly turning heel, blaming WWE for his injury and causing him to not be able to wrestle anymore. And then he's going to see that Finn Balor, Aleister Black, Baron Corbin, and Ruby Riott are all really talented, but not giving the opportunities that they deserve. They're not getting title shots that they deserve. They're not getting the main events that they deserve. So he's going to have them team up and kind of go against WWE. So all these guys are going to be, the ones that aren't heel are going to be turning heel. So we're going to have Finn Balor as a heel. We're going to have Ruby Riott as a heel. I thought that would be an interesting, kind of uh, faction, kind of going against the man, sort of a thing. Not that we've never seen that before, obviously, but I think that would be a cool faction, personally. But
Yeah. Um, my faction is a little bit different than yours. Um, I went with Apollo Crews, Kurt Hawkins, Ty Dillinger, and Dolph Ziggler. Now, before you laugh, because I know a lot of people are laughing right now, the reason I did this was because I feel like we gotta go back and look at the New Day for my kind of comparison on this. The New Day, before they were the New Day, what was Kofi Kingston doing? Not a lot. What was Xavier Woods doing? Not a lot. I think Big E was probably doing the most. So if you put those three guys together and they just kind of exploded, and now everybody knows them, everybody loves them. This could happen with these four guys, and I got one. I got two from Raw and two from SmackDown because they could even pair up as tag teams and win the tag team titles and have them both be the tag team titles at the same time, tag team champions at the same time. I just feel like these guys who really just haven't found their way yet. Dolph's a little bit different, but these guys who really just haven't found their way yet, kind of lost in the mud a little bit. This will be the perfect opportunity to not pair them up, but get them together and have them feed off of each other. Because the Titus brand ain't working, Apollo. I'm just saying. Kurt Hawkins, I don't know what you're doing right now. Ty Dillinger, I haven't really watched you as much. And Dolph Ziggler, is Dolph Ziggler. So I feel, and Dolph Ziggler should be the mouthpiece for this, in my opinion. If there's going to be a mouthpiece for this faction, I think it should be Dolph Ziggler. But I think they should do it. You got to have guys that can feed off of each other. It's got to happen.
Yeah. All right. Next week's challenge is going to be, we're going to take one match out of this year's SummerSlam, and we're going to put a match into SummerSlam. So we're going to take a match that we don't necessarily want on the show, take it out, and we're going to put a new match in there. So that will be next week's ICWP weekly booking challenge. So that should be fun. Moving on, we got next week's hype. What is next week's hype, bro? See what I did there? Hype, bro. Hype. See what it is? Yeah. No. All right.
Next week's hype, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually don't know it? Oh, it's mine.
Yeah. This segments.
What we're excited for this next week's hype, bro. Whatever you want to call it. Destination X. That's all we got. And usually it's going to be probably one or two things that we're excited for. Like we've said before, WWE doesn't do a great job of promoting next week's shows in advance ever. And TNA does a great job at it. I don't know if it's because they're pre-recorded or what, but NXT does the same thing and they're pre-recorded. So I don't really know. Like, I don't know why WWE doesn't do a better job of.
NXT does promote their next week's shows, so at least they do it.
Yeah,
at least certain matches.
But that's what I was saying. They're pre-recorded too, so maybe that's what. I don't know if it's a pre-recorded thing or what.
Yeah.
But we're both excited for Destination X. It should be pretty good. It's coming up next week. I know some matches that we have: Lashley versus Matt Sydal, which should be a good kind of clashing of styles. High Flyer versus Big Power thing. I'm definitely. I want to see that match. That's one of the matches I'm definitely looking forward to. A couple of the other ones, the finals of the Super X Cup, which we mentioned earlier. Taji Ishimori versus Desmond Xavier. I keep misspelling his name. I don't know why. I keep thinking it's an S, but it's a Z. Alberto El Patron versus Low Key is going to be amazing. It just is. I still feel like Alberto El Patron is suspended and it's a live show, but anyway, I don't know. The ladder match for the X Division Championship is going to be awesome. Sanjay Dutt versus Trevor Lee. That's going to be really good. Cena versus Gail Kim should be pretty good. And OVE, Ohio, I almost said Ohio's very own. Ohio versus everyone is debuting as well. So it should be a good show. It's a pretty stacked card. If you haven't watched Impact in a long time and you still kind of hate Impact, watch the show and see what you think. Than 1 week though, because if you don't, you might not. Anyway, Casey, did you have any additional thoughts on Destination X before we move on to our next segment, which is something else? I think
that's the last segment.
It is the last segment, man. Oh yeah, because next week we'll look for next week. Man, see, it's 9:45. We was going quick. We was moving. Um, but anyway, that was your first ever. I don't know if I'd even say I think I put episode 1 on a video like a long time ago, but that was your Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, episode 1. This is a weekly show that we've been doing every week. Around about an hour. It could go shorter. It could go a little bit longer. It's it kind of depends on how much we're discussing, and how much we're not. So be sure to leave us any comments that you have. Any comments you have on any of the segments that we had on this show. We hope you guys come back and join us next week. Be sure to share the video as well. Give us your feedback on Twitter at ICW_podcast. It just passed. I'm sorry I missed it. Also, go like the Facebook page. Do everything that's been scrolling down at the bottom the whole time. But anyway, we will see you guys next time. We do hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant classic.